Hello, boys. I'm back from the dead. Actually, no, just from the wonderful land of Devon in England. Much like I live in England. Anyway, I'm back. And naturally, there was going to be something I was going to have to make as soon as I got back. Don't worry, I haven't literally just got in the door. We've unpacked and sort of gotten reacquainted with the habitat, as it were. But of course, there is some duties I have to take care of, and that's what this is. Obviously, the trailer for Road Court came out. I guess the closed alpha trailer is actually technically what it is, but it was still a pretty big new Road Court trailer. Trailer breakdown coming very soon. As of recording, as of if you're watching this on the day it came out, which most useful that you do. Trailer breakdown should be coming out tomorrow, hopefully. So look forward to that, because obviously we're going to go quite in depth, frame by frame. We've got more footage than just the trailer to go through as well. That's what the weird video is that just came out the other day. That actually, when it was first published, was actually called The Real Boner. Anyway, today I'm not going to go through the trailer. Actually, I'm going to go through the other news surrounding it, which is the FAQ, the closed alpha FAQ, and sign up. So basically, how to sign up for the closed alpha and everything else you need to know about it. That's what today is. Based on these Steam posts, these two. So we're going to start with the one that actually talks about the trailer. But obviously, I'm not going to be playing the trailer during this video. That's not what this video is about. That will come soon. Anyway. So let's just get into it. Hello, Reclaimers. We've just premiered our new closed alpha trailer. You can check it out right up above. And in connection with the trailer, a big announcement. Sign-ups for the Road Core closed alpha are now open. It was cool to see sign-ups being open at the end of the trailer. Obviously, the alpha isn't live yet. That's not inherently the expectation. When you can sign up, you expect it to be a sign-up period, and then everyone will get chosen, and then we'll transition into the actual alpha being live. But yeah, it was basically it being at the end of the trailer. It's just like, sign up now. It's a very cool thing to see. And yeah, also, there'll be plenty of useful links in the description of this video, as there always is meant to be. They're meant to be useful links. So let's talk more about that, and I'll make sure that you know exactly how to sign up. If you'd like a chance to get into the closed alpha when it launches, you can go over to the Road store page and click the Request Access button. That's going to be very simple. So if you were to follow, actually, you can click on this, but if you were to just follow this link, for example, which will be in the description, you have the Request Access button here. I have done this, but on my actual Steam account. We'll see how that goes. It's not like I have a PC that I can actually play it with. I guess I would either get lucky, use someone else's, as in get lucky, as in come across like a good PC somehow in the meantime, or I would literally just force it onto my laptop, which is a bad idea, because it might destroy my laptop. And it won't run anyway. But yeah, so as you click this link, it will take you there. Obviously, you get to this news feed through here. If you go recent events announcement, you click view all. This is the post we're talking about here. But yeah, if you go to this page, the Road store page, it's right here. Underneath this coming soon to early access tab, I guess. So yeah, here's the button. There is another way to do it as well, which I'm going to tell you about right now, actually. If you go to the Ghost Ship website, you can actually sign up for their newsletter. I think everything that's here that should be here is here. You click Get in Touch, and you can subscribe to the newsletter here. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you get all information. You get newsletters about upcoming playtests. If you signed up, you wouldn't get the one. This actually means you can sign up twice, which I don't think there's necessarily a problem with. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But you can sign up through that if you get the email from, as in, you're not going to get it now, but you would get the email for the next playtest, for example, because there will be 2 closed alpha runs. It's something we'll get into in a minute. So yeah, you can also go through the actual Ghost Ship website and sign up for the newsletter. That also means you'll get the newsletter monthly, which is actually a really nice source of just general sort of keeping in touch with Ghost Ship and getting some kind of news every month, no matter what. It's a really good thing if you're interested in what they do, especially if you're interested in deep rock and roll, which obviously we are. So yeah, feel free to follow. There'll be a link to that in the description as well, to the Ghost Ship website. So yeah. Anyway, let's go from here. To set expectations, clicking that sign up button on the store page does not guarantee that you'll be granted access. It just puts your name in the hat, so to speak. We expect to launch the first phase of our closed alpha playtest within a month. So that should be, which is very soon, by the way. That is by the end of April, which I think is very commendable because that's the first month of Q2. All that we knew was that they planned to start the closed alpha in Q2. Anyway, next week we'll share an FAQ blog post as well as a video interview where we'll give more details about the closed alpha and how it will work. The Steam page has also gotten a total makeover, including new screenshots, a much cooler about this game section, that button, the button, updated FAQ and early access info, and an updated roadmap. Actually, is this info updated? I think it might be. I don't think this is actually the same as, if you'll grant me some respite, I don't think this is actually the same as the closed alpha FAQ. It's not. So we will actually be talking about this in a minute. So we'll go through this information here afterwards as well, because this is a recent thing, and all the screenshots and stuff. This art, which I love. I really love this art, by the way. I think it's so good, especially like the silhouetted nature of the dwarves. I think that helps aid the fact that there will be more than 4 classes, certainly. Anyway, we also have the roadmap to go through today as well, which is in this post. Yeah, we're about to get to that. So this will be the Road Core roadmap and closed alpha sign up video, basically. Anyway, we've got an exciting time ahead of us. From all of us at Ghost Ship Games, we're endlessly grateful for your interest and enthusiasm, and we're keen to share lots more Road Core in the months ahead. We'll post the updated roadmap here too, for added visibility. And we'll talk about the roadmap, by the way, on the next podcast. I don't know when that will be. I think it's more likely to be next week, because that means that we won't cross over with the closed alpha. But I might have to raise that, whether that makes sense, because obviously we're not actually counting on that we'll be able to play it, even if we got in. So we don't know if we necessarily want to cross our wires, or if we actually do. I'd say it's wiser to not cross our wires and to have the next podcast come out before the first closed alpha, because we can still base the next podcast on the fallout of the closed alpha, because I think that information, like the feedback that people give, will still be public. So it's probably going to be better to do it beforehand. So there's a chance that the next podcast might be next week, even though that's technically a shorter gap than normal, but I think it makes sense because we've got a lot to talk about. Anyway, stay tuned for next week's FAQ. Okay, so the FAQ, which is what we're about to talk about as well. But let's go through the roadmap first. So the Road Core Living roadmap. I love these things. Roadmaps will only get more exciting, by the way, once we actually have the game available to play. Like the early access roadmap, like what the next few updates are going to be. It's like, whoa, new classes and what. Actually, we'll get to the classes because they are actually talked about in here, which I was very grateful to see. So we actually start at the beginning of so we start at the beginning of 2025, or rather from Q2, which is sort of like the bullet point. The point for April is literally a blog update. So the closed alpha playtest begins in Q2. April blog update. Our priorities for the coming months will be heavily influenced by the feedback from the closed alpha playtest. List some goals down below, but the rest will take shape based on what we hear and observe from the community. And we plan on posting a monthly recap here on the Road Core Steam blog to give you an idea of what we've been up to and our upcoming goals. The closed alpha playtest will likely be run over several week-long sessions, letting in a limited number of players each time. We're not sure about the exact dates yet. We can't promise that everybody will be let in. And yeah, follow the Steam page for notified about access. This kind of just covers the approach to this quarter of the year. Q3 will actually still involve the closed alpha, which is something I think it's in the FAQ where we'll have that. What we've done so far, we might get to that actually. So Q3 will still involve the closed alpha, but we'll actually involve them actually making and implementing stuff based on feedback. So these are features we expect to develop according to playtest feedback. This is stuff that they're gonna make according to feedback. This is separate from like new things that will arise that they find out they should do from player feedback. This is all stuff they plan on doing, but how they approach it is going to be based on feedback. So it's game balance, good. Expanded meta progression system, so expanded already beyond whatever they have going at the moment. More player upgrades and enhancements. I think there's going to be, it already sounds like there's going to be a lot, but that's all good. Additional events and objectives in the cave, so they want to know what people want from that. Overall game progression system, we'll talk about that, I think, in a podcast, but if I were to be brief about that, at minimum have the progression match what DLG is currently. You've got to have that full like promotion system. You know, change things around a little bit, like what the actual borders look like, maybe the actual structure of like leveling up, but still have this progression system that lets you sort of have like this infinite signifier of your progress. You know, make sure you never run out, or even if that, you know, that could just be a numbered level. You could keep it really simple. Just make sure it doesn't stop, that people can always see your progress, no matter how far you've gone. And more reclaimers. That's more classes, by the way. So they intend to make more reclaimers, but they want to base that off of community feedback. I hope that they put forward the ones that they're prototyping, which I've sort of talked about this before, like the Gorgon and the Backtracker, and the Reanimates are sort of these ones that are on like this prototyping stage. The Gorgon, for example, actually had to get rescinded back into prototyping. I hope that they put those forward and be like, which one of like what of these are exciting? How would you want us to make these ones? Because I actually think their ideas are very strong, and I'd rather they pursue their own. I don't necessarily think we need the community to come up with the entire like class ideas this early on. Anyway, wishlist features, things we would want to add before early access but can't promise: more enemies and bosses and weapons. That's stuff that as long as the enemy variety is strong, you wouldn't necessarily expect it before early access. Even then, you know, DRG launched with a very small enemy pool, and very small weapon pool, and very small boss pool compared to what it is now, and very small even compared to what it was come 1.0. So I don't view these as essential before early access, but if they manage to make the game that much more beefy, that's a welcome endeavor on their part. I would love for them to be able to do that, because I think it would just increase sort of the warmth and the sort of the sumptuousness of this game even more. It already seems like it's going to be a real feast, but this would just escalate that even further. Anyway, so quarter four transitions into preparing for, and obviously launching early access. We expect the final quarter to be mostly focused on polishing, bug fixes, and final preparations for the early access launch, which obviously should be in quarter four. We'll have more details on what that entails when we get closer. And I'll just say, it doesn't say what I just said, which is like preparations for the early access launch that will happen in this quarter, but it will. Rogue Core's coming out this year, and there's no way they can get around that. It literally just has to, and that's why it's things like, oh, it would be cool to add more enemies, bosses, and weapons. Definitely not if that will make it take longer. If that means it will come out in 2026, Rogue Core has to come out this year, and I'll leave it at that. And that's not greed. Greed would have been expecting it to come out without delay. We've already had a year-long delay. Anyway, so they've already done all these things so far, which these are internal updates, which is kind of cool. Designing prototype, co-op mechanics, reclaimer gear, theming and visual identity, deep dig sites, which is one of the most fleshed out things, which is all sort of the DRG structures that we'll see in the caves, the procedure generated like structures, which I think are so cool. A bit of everything, and systems, which things like upgrade and progression systems, probably more some upgrade systems. So yeah, that's the roadmap, sort of general closed down for information. But now we're going to get into the FAQ. So let's do the FAQ on the closed alpha first, and then we'll get transition to the early access one. Okay. Hello, gamers. We've just premiered our new closed alpha gameplay trailer and made the big announcement that sign-ups for the closed alpha playtest are now open now. Lots of you have already requested access. Naturally, we figured you probably got some questions while you're waiting. That's what this post is about. Below is a 20-minute Q&A video we did to follow up to the closed alpha trailer, but we talk more about the playtest and what to expect. It's got a lot more details, plus some additional gameplay footage that we couldn't fit in the trailer. Give it a watch if you like, or if you're in a hurry, you can breeze through the FAQ below it. So yeah, this video, a condensed version of it is actually on the channel, our channel, that uploaded the other day. That's what that weird video is. It's basically an edited down version of this video, where it's all of the gameplay footage. It is mostly footage from the trailer, but it's also not. When I think about it, just remembered, because it's over 4 minutes long. It's actually mostly new footage, which is kind of cool. So feel free to check that out. But we will also be breaking down that footage in the trailer breakdown. So if you stick with us, if you stick with Barrel Vision, you'll get around to like knowing that stuff one way or another. But I will also link this video. I'll link both videos actually in the description of this one. Anyways, let's get to the FAQ. When is a closed alpha actually launching? Our aim is to launch it within a month from now. We're not avoiding saying any specific date to be cagey and mysterious. We just need to do a bit more stress testing to make sure the game won't fall apart and stuff first. That took us a month at most. Once we're confident all the technical considerations are in place, we'll announce the exact start date. There you go. Why do a closed alpha at all? We're doing a closed alpha to collect preliminary feedback from players. It helps us see how people approach and play the game, identify issues we might be blind to, and get a feel for what people like and don't like about Rollcore. This is how we know what's important to work on as we push for the early access release and thereby steer the direction of the game's development. Our hope is that playtesters understand that they're not heading into a polished, perfect game experience. This isn't about what we've made, but what we're making. It'll be rough around the edges with stuff that crashes and doesn't work, but that's sort of the point. To catch these things sooner rather than later. And that's completely okay. You know, as long as you put this thing out acknowledging what it is, it's a test, it's all out the window. You know, you're absolved. This thing is meant to be buggy because you're meant to crush that shit during the playtest or from feedback. Players will likely find bugs and glitches and maybe even game-breaking stuff that Ghost Ship haven't found, and that's the point of these things. That's important stuff. That is not a flaw. It's a potential flaw if it gets left in early access, and certainly if it gets left in 1.0. But it's there for the playtesters to find and highlight for Ghost Ship because that's just a relationship. And I want to see that relationship feel really strong between the playtesters, between the community, and between Ghost Ship, or between the community and Ghost Ship. The community be made up of everyone, but also particularly the playtesters who will give you direct feedback. That is, we want that relationship to be strong and responsive. Anyway, how do I apply for the closed alpha? Well, I've told you that already. Head over to the Steam page and Steam store page and click the big green request access button, or sign up for the newsletter. Although you won't get one for this playtest though. So just go to the Steam page for this one. What are my odds of getting in? That depends on how many people request access. We'd be thrilled if a lot of people sign up, but of course that means your individual odds of getting picked go down, because it's a random selection process. Yeah, obviously. If you end up not getting in, please don't take it personally. We're flattered and delighted by your interest, and we promise there'll be more opportunities to play Rollcore in the future, like when it comes out, for example. But yeah, obviously it is complete random selection, and they explain why there's no bias down below, but I think it shouldn't be hard to understand why there's no bias as far as the randomization goes. How are you going to run the whole thing? We'll run the closed alpha playtest over multiple short sessions throughout the course of Q2 and Q3. We still don't know how many or exactly how long they'll last, probably about a week each. Yeah, I don't know how many, I guess at least 3, I'd say. Probably more so 4, but yeah, that's all that can really be said about that. How do I know if I get allowed into the playtest? Steam will send you a notification to whichever email address you have linked to your account. If you want to be extra certain you're updated with all Rollcore news, playtests, and otherwise, go and click the follow button on the store page and sign up to the newsletter. If you get let into one playtest session, do you get into all the other ones too? Yes. The thing is, Steam doesn't tell you when the consecutive playtests go live, so you only get pinged that very first time. It's tricky. Our best advice is to follow the Rollcore store page to maximize notifications about subsequent playtests. So, I think that actually leaves something a little bit up in the air, which is whether or not it's basically saying that if you get into one of the playtests, you're into all of them after that. I have to assume that means they're going to expand the number of people allowed in for each one. I really hope that hasn't already been addressed, because otherwise I'm going to look stupid. But I do think that's a bit of a missing bit of information there, to be honest. So Aaron, get on that, please. I have 3,200 hours in Deep Rock Galactic and have been playing since 2018. Shouldn't I have priority for getting to the playtest? No, sorry. And I agree with that, by the way, inherently. I'm pretty sure my playtime is actually quite a bit higher than that as well. Of course, it's great to get feedback from people who know DRG really well, but it's equally important to hear how the game is for people who are relatively inexperienced, or perhaps new to the franchise altogether. We've got to make sure the game is fun and interesting for greenbeards and greybeards alike. And you can't just split it. You can't just be like, okay, 1,000 hours and below, those are 2 categories, pick a random equal amount from each. Because first of all, chances are actually most people won't have over 1,000 hours who sign up for the Rollcore playtests. And also, you get a big variety of people, even in that sort of strata of like high playtime. They're not all the same. Much like most people who haven't even played Deep Rock are not the same. There's such a variety of tastes. If I were to be biased, but also help sort of exemplify what I'm saying, a guy whose tastes more aligned with things like Hades and RoboQuest and well, basically games like that, rather than someone who just plays Call of Duty every year, I'm probably going to value the first guy's opinion more. But that's the thing. Both of those people could have easily just not played any Deep Rock. And they could also both have thousands of hours on Deep Rock, potentially. But they're very different in terms of their tastes and what they expect from games. So I don't think it's hard to see why you just go completely random on this. Anyway, my friend got into the playtest and I didn't. Did you guys do this on purpose to torment me? Yes. Fair enough. Anyway, hope this helps. If you've got any other burning questions, drop them in the comments below. And as always, you can also ping us on Discord or chat with us directly during our weekly streams on Twitch and YouTube. I'll link the Go Shape YouTube channel. Why not? We do those on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting at 13 o'clock Central Eastern Time or 12 p.m. midday GMT. Thanks to all of you for your enthusiasm so far. We've been thrilled with your response to the PlayStation announcement, and we can't wait for the months to come. Going to be fun. Rock and Stone Reclaimers. I think that does clarify everything that they are able to clarify, except at this current stage, except for that one thing I mentioned about increasing the number of people let in for each playtest. I feel like that is still a bit unclear, to be honest. So if that could be addressed, that would be awesome. But now we get to do this one. The one I didn't know about, the Early Access FAQ. So, why Early Access? Early Access lets us collect players' feedback at a point in development where it's much easier to incorporate into the game. If something really works or really doesn't work, we'd like to know about it with enough time and flexibility to make the necessary changes. Yep, we feel that connecting with players like you, during Early Access helps us make Rogue Core the best game it can be. Exactly, and that's what DRG was. Although there was a lot of that for DRG, I hope there's more for Rogue Core. I hope there's more flexibility and more sort of like foundational shifts in decision making if they happen to come up. Whoa, we've got an approximation of the early access period. Approximately how long will this game be in early access? We expect Rogue Core to be in early access for 18 to 24 months. That's a really interesting thing to put out there. So either a year and a half or 2 years. So that means Rogue Core should be, Rogue Core should go 1.0 either mid or late 2027, basically, which sounds insane, but, DRG took 2 years as well. So it's only natural. Actually, DRG took just over 2 years. Well, definitively over 2 years, like 2 years and a quarter, I think it was, roughly, for DRG. But I find it interesting they're actually putting out a window. I wasn't expecting that at all. And I have to assume that does factor in the fact that they'll be making Season 6 and maybe Season 7 or another major Deep Rock update during this period, potentially. I would imagine there'd be at least one or at least some kind of plan set in stone about Deep Rock after that, because, they've really got to think about, like, I can sympathise with doing Season 6 fairly traditionally, but after that you kind of got to reconsider how things are going to go for DRG, because it's, although the thing is, it'd probably be easier to balance working on both games after Rogue Core goes 1.0, so I don't really know what to say about that, to be honest. Anyway, how is the full version planned to be different from the early access version? Based on our experience with Deep Rock Galactic, our early access approach will focus on adding new features and content based on your feedback and our own observations of how people play the game. Each new feature will be tweaked, balanced, and polished as it's added, so the main difference between early access and full release will be the game's breadth and depth, not quality. We'd like everything to be well-oiled and functional from the start. Also, basically they're saying the game will be amazing out the gate, but not full. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. What is the current state of the early access version? We don't have an early access build ready yet, or a release date announced, but when the time comes, you can expect a fully playable, polished game. It will just get bigger and better from there. So they're planning on being pretty polished even for early access, which is kind of nice. Along the way, we'll be running closed alpha playtests for those interested in trying early prototype versions of the game as we work towards early access. Yep, being through all that. Will the game be priced differently during and after early access? Compared to an eventual 1.0 release, the game's price in early access will be reduced because it's still not the final product. So, okay, it will go up when it goes 1.0. Whenever we get to 1.0 release, we'll raise the price a bit to reflect the content and features that have been added since early access. Yep, the same did happen for DRG. I almost don't remember it happening, but I know that it did. So that's fine. How are you planning on involving the community in your development process? We like community feedback. The best way to get in touch with us is through our Discord server, which is also where we organise regular playtests for fans and community members. Okay, you don't. You don't organise regular playtests. You will be doing that. So that's fine. Anyway, all feedback, whether positive or negative, helps us steer our development process and ultimately make a better game. If you've got some feedback you want to share with us, you can reach out through Discord, write us an email via the Ghost Ship Games website. You can just write them emails. I actually like that, and I know Aaron reads them because I've done this myself. When I was asking about if I could use like the newsletter in videos, and he did get back to me. Holler at us during our weekly dev live streams, or send an old-fashioned paper letter to our office. That's real, by the way. They mentioned it jokingly in that video, this video. But it's real, Aaron. If you send physical mail to Ghost Ship, Aaron will read it. So yeah, you can do that. Anyway, that's gonna be it. So that's how to get into the Rogue Core closed alpha. That's the current Rogue Core roadmap. That is also the closed alpha FAQ and the early access FAQ all in one. You're welcome. Right here, I'm back. Battle Vision's back. We should have a trailer breakdown coming at you imminently. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this, then please make sure. Well, you want to see more stuff like this, and you want to stay on top of everything to Deep Rock and Rogue Core. As you can tell, just as out of practice as I am when I'm in practice. Anyway, yeah. So please click the bell if you want to stay on top of everything, because that's what we do here. And I'll see you very, very soon. Yes. Bye-bye.